Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventures. Just Dave here. Today I'm talking about the movie Banshees of Inisherin. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen the movie yet and you are concerned about spoilers, I would suggest you go and watch the movie first before you watch this review. So Banshees of Inisherin is Martin McDonagh's newest movie. It is about a couple guys in Ireland who were friends, and one day one of them decides he doesn't want to be friends with the other one. So as far as what I liked about the movie, overall, I thought the cast was great. Colin Farrell is always good. Gleeson is one of my favorite actors in the world. He was great in Paddington 2. Kerry Condon's always good. She was in Better Call Saul as Mike's daughter-in-law. Keoghan, however you say it, always good. I like him in this. He was actually really good in this. I thought his character was hilarious. Pat Short, I think, was the bartender's name, or the guy in the bar, whatever. And David Pierce is the priest, too. I thought there were some scenes he had with Brendan Gleeson's character, Colin. That was really, really funny. I really enjoyed it. The setting I thought was interesting. It's a small island off the coast of Ireland in 1923, I believe. So during the Irish Civil War. I mean, I thought it was interesting that they didn't necessarily start with Ireland, 1923. You had to kind of figure it out from context. Eventually they show a calendar so you can figure it out. But at first when he goes Civil War and I'm a dumb American, I'm going, this isn't the 1800s. And I go, oh yeah, Irish Civil War. There's other Civil Wars. So yeah. Cool setting, something I've always been interested in. There was 1921, I think it was the Easter Rebellion. And that's when that started. I might be confusing that with the 1916 one, but yeah. Overall, I thought the story was really good. It's sort of, at least the beginning of the movie, is a lot like a sitcom. It's this sort of like, I can almost see it being an episode of Friends or something where, they're like, hey, the guy at work said he doesn't like me anymore. Why? And then they got to figure out kind of thing. And it was funny. And for the first half of the movie, it really was a lot like a sitcom. I was watching and going, this could have been a TV show. This could have been a 6-episode series on Netflix that I would have loved. But about halfway through, I think, or so, the movie does take a turn. You may have seen in the trailer that Brendan Gleeson's character, Colin, says that if he doesn't leave him alone, he's going to chop off his finger and won't be able to play the fiddle anymore. And sure enough, he does what he said, and he chops off his finger and he throws it at the door. And it is absurd and ridiculous and crazy. And then they start to kind of make up, and you think, okay, maybe things can be salvaged here. And then, Colin Farrell messes it up. Patrick is his character's name. Messes it up by revealing that he had actually sent one of his musician friends home. And then Brendan Gleeson chops off the rest of his fingers and throws them at the door. And I guess we're going into full spoilers here for the story, but then Colin Farrell's donkey ends up eating it, choking on it, and dying. He ends up setting his house on fire. It's so absurdly ridiculous, but also so sad and depressing. And I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. I thought the clothes in this were great. The nice cable knit sweaters. I love a good cable knit sweater. The comedy really worked. I was surprised. It's kind of thing I was watching it at first, going, oh, it's funny, and then I would hear people laughing in the audience. There wasn't a lot of people in the theater, but enough. And sure enough, I was laughing out loud a bit. I started laughing out loud so much that I was concerned that I was like ruining the movie for other people, that people would be like, what is this idiot? He's laughing at everything. But man, this movie just it got me. It's something in the funny bone where I think the closest thing I could compare it to is maybe Hunt for the Wilder People, where it's just this sort of look at this kind of isolated group of people who, have a sort of to me at least, funny accent, and this sort of really interesting way of like talking to each other and interacting with each other. But I just loved it. I loved all the fiddling, and Brendan Gleeson is fiddles in real life, you could tell. And he did it on SNL, so I saw him do it there. But yeah, always cool. I love a good fiddle. I like the music overall, the score. Carter Burwell did it. He does a lot of the Coen Brothers stuff and some Spike Jonze movies, and he's done all of Martin McDonagh's movies as well. I like the movie doesn't really explain everything. Like I said at the beginning, it doesn't come in and say Ireland, 1923. They were in the middle of a civil war in Ireland. Started, you just got to figure stuff out from context, and it doesn't always tell you everything, and you got to kind of remember or kind of interpret it on your own. And I like that. I like it that movies that don't exactly tell you how to think. I like the movie is legitimately unpredictable. I'm watching it going, I don't know what's going to happen next. Is this guy really going to chop off his fingers? This is crazy. And he did. It was awesome. And I also thought I could really identify with all of the characters in this, which to me is the mark of really good writing, where I could definitely identify with Colin Farrell. He's, of course, a great actor. And at first I found it a little hard to believe maybe that he was that anyone would dislike him because he's so charismatic. I'm like, come on, Colin Farrell is great. But no, I think, I've been in a situation like that where, somebody's just not like me because of my personality. And I have a big personality, so that happened. And I've also been like Colin, the character who's just like, hey, I just want you to leave me alone so I can like do stuff. And I definitely identified with his, getting older and wanting to sort of have a legacy and to write this song and did not wanting to be distracted. All stuff that really resonated with me. I liked Kerry Condon's character as Colin's sister that wanted to leave this small island and find a better life, a more fulfilling life. She's stuck here just reading books and with all these idiot men. Yeah, Barry Keoghan too. His character is probably the one I identify with the most because that's who I am, the town idiot who's just walking around doing stupid things. So yeah, it was great. I really liked that. As far as what I disliked, not much. I will say I didn't love the opening song, which is probably a dumb thing to say. It's probably a classical sort of Irish song of the period, but for me, just the way it was mixed and the way the voices were mixing, I didn't like it. I don't know. Dumb opinion. Bad take. I was a little bummed that the cop didn't get his comeuppance because not only is he a terrible person and just a cop, so I mean already, but it's revealed at some point that he is molesting his son, and he's never really held accountable for that. I guess I wanted to see a moment where like Colin Farrell, beats the shit out of him or something, and maybe in more of a Hollywood movie that's what would have happened. But in this case, no. Now, granted, I suppose his son dying is a bit of a comeuppance, but only the fact that he can't molest him anymore, I guess. Yeah, so the movie is very, very sad, I will say. And I remember there was an older couple in front of me who walked out and they were like, the wife was just, oh man, that was so sad. It was just depressing. And I'm like, yeah, but it's also really funny. And the ending was a bit abrupt. Again, it was just where else do you end it? But basically, he sees Colin sitting there on the beach. He didn't die when he set his house on fire, and he brings him his dog back, and he goes, well, I guess we're even now since you set my house on fire. And he's like, no, we're not. And he goes, well, thanks for watching my dog for me. And he goes, anytime. Credits roll. That's it. So a little ambiguous. I mean, is their feud going to continue? Are they actually still friends? Are they over it? What's going to happen? I don't know. Interesting. It's open to interpretation, I guess. So other than that, movie is directed by Martin McDonagh. Before this, he did In Bruges with the same two actors, and I loved that movie. That was one of my favorite movies of the year. I've only seen it once, actually, so I should probably rewatch it, but I really liked that movie. He also did Seven Psychopaths, which I didn't like as much. And I saw the trailers and was like, oh, I liked In Bruges and what's his name? Christopher Walken's in this. Like, great. And I remember not liking it that much. Or not loving it as much as I wanted to. And then he did Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which I also liked. It was supposed to be, this movie, Banshees of Inisherin, was supposed to be the third play in the Aran Islands trilogy, which included The Cripple of Inishmaan and The Lieutenant of Inishmore. For whatever reason, I don't know why, they decided to make it into a movie. I'm glad they did, because I probably wouldn't have seen it if it was a play. The pub in here, the J.J. Devine Public House, was actually built for the movie, which I thought was well designed. It looked like it was a classic kind of thing. And I remember seeing it said since 18, whatever on there, and think, oh man, that's got to be cool. In Ireland, they have all these old bars and stuff. We have some old bars in America too, but I don't know. It's always cool to see in Europe. They've got, this stuff that's been around for forever and people have been going there and it's like an institution. So yeah, they built it there. The movie is actually filmed on Achill Island in County Mayo, the west coast of Ireland. And then they ended up tearing the house down after production ended. As far as the movie, I really liked other things, just the themes of it, and we're really trying to understand what it is. And I haven't watched anyone else's reviews, and I haven't read any other reviews, so I'm not sure. It's very possible I'm missing something very obvious, and I will feel stupid later. But my initial impressions were that the movie has a lot to do with friendship, just the nature of friendship, and specifically male friendship, but also sort of being isolated and being in a small community and dealing with that. And then furthermore, I think it has a lot to do with masculinity, sort of the way that men aren't really able to express their feelings or don't really know how. It has a lot to do with depression, and they do kind of touch on that a little bit with Brendan Gleeson's character, and sort of just how to deal with depression, and again, how men deal with depression, or how really anybody does. And also just the inability to deal with emotions. I feel like they had a lot going on they didn't want to acknowledge. Obviously, neither one of them had very happy lives. Colin Farrell's character Patrick was stuck living with his sister. They're both in their 40s or 30s, living in a single bedroom house, sleeping next to each other. That can't be a very fulfilling life, or I'm sure, they had trouble finding dates at least. And they're in a small island. It's a kind of a bad time, I think, for everybody. And there's a civil war going on. in the mainland there, or the main island, and they can't really do anything about it. That they're upset, they don't know what to do. They've got the one cop who's excited to go work at a hanging, and he doesn't even know who's being hanged. So I think a lot of it too is just there's a lot going on, and they didn't really know how to deal with it, and so they found an odd sort of thing to focus on, which was their friendship. But I don't know, that was my interpretation of it, at least. So overall, I really like this movie. I think it's probably my second favorite movie of the year. I don't think that I'd like it quite as much as Everything Everywhere all at Once, but it's really, I think I was going to give it a 9, but the more I think about it, I'm going to give it a 10. It's 10 out of 10. I love this movie. I thought it was great. I don't know if I'd like it as much if I watched it a second time, but overall, that was a really good movie, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to seeing more. So if you saw the movie, let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great night, and I will see you here again next week.